And we're live. You are watching Coaching Chats with Marina and Caroline.
I'm Marina Baranowski of the Coaching Marina.
And I am Caroline Day with Safe Day to Change. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay this week. Thank
I
you.
know we got some sad
Mhm.
news, right, about your pet.
Yes, my parrot Sunny has left us, and it's definitely left a hole in our lives. So just
Yeah,
dealing with all that this week, but
I'm so sorry for
thank
your
you.
loss, for your pain, for everything that is going through right now.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
tough.
it's hard. I'm so glad and blessed that you're here today. I think
Oh, thank
um,
you.
this is important to be there for you
Definitely.
at any capacity that you want.
Thank you.
Um, I love you, and I can actually very much relate to
I love
you.
you
I
too.
did, yeah. I
Ooh.
also lost my bunny not too long ago.
Yes, and that's why I'm like, I know you know. Like it's not easy.
So, if at any point
Yeah,
um,
I'll let
you
you
need
know.
any support, I am here for you, and we can do this however you like today.
Thank you.
Um, Today, we're going to talk about something that actually is related to having this any type of
Yeah.
pain, really.
Yeah.
But when you're having these feelings where we feel like it's just so big and we
Mm.
need help. So, today, we're going to talk about when to ask for help.
Yeah. I didn't mean to have this kind of great segue, but yeah, it did make me think quite a bit as we were coming up on recording this. Asking for help has been a struggle for me personally because it comes with a lot of emotion. It comes with feeling like I don't want to be a burden, feeling like I can handle this on my own. These are kind of ideas that have seeped into my brain over the course of my life and having enough experiences in life to know that I can handle it, right? That's the thought. I can handle it. I can do it. I can keep doing it. I can keep doing it because if I allow myself to be vulnerable in that moment, that means that there's a weakness there or that I'm not strong enough. And instead of considering it as just trying to be open, trying to just clear some air, maybe give yourself a little bit of space. And I know in my life, I've had a lot of people have said, if there's something that you need, you just let me know. And I know that they mean it. But then there's a piece of me that goes, I just don't want to burden them. I don't want to make them feel obligated to help me because I'm having a hard time at something. And that's at various times of my life. When honestly, if I was very honest with myself, I needed that help, but um, I didn't allow myself
Yeah.
to
You,
ask.
you said a few things there already, right? You talked about not wanting to be a burden.
Mm,
At some point in our lives, we learn some sort of discomfort that we have either created on people and have been verbalized to us, or there was some rule that was implemented in our household. Don't be a burden to other people. Or maybe we saw some parental reference where they didn't want to be a burden to someone, and you took that as first positive, maybe even responsible. Look, she doesn't want to bother anybody. She wants to do it on her own. If you admire that, if you think that that's strong,
yeah, look how strong she
that
is.
that's positive, then all of a sudden you are creating the same rule for yourself, or you're going to try to emulate the same thing because you admire that in someone.
Yeah.
So that could be one possibility, right? The second possibility is people have asked for help and was met with no help.
Mm,
And the feeling of not being helped when you needed help can turn into like embarrassment, rejection, feeling less than, I'm not important. And so when it happens again, or when another situation arises where you feel like you need help, then it becomes really difficult to do it because your body remembers the feeling of being rejected, or at least even feeling rejected. Maybe you weren't rejected. Maybe it's just someone who didn't answer the phone
mm,
and you found yourself with no help. Nobody necessarily did anything to you, but because you didn't get the help, you associated the feeling of the lack of help with sadness, rejection. I'm alone. If I ask for help, I won't receive it. And those are very strong memories that our
definitely.
body carries of not feeling like not feeling that. But you said, I don't want to be a burden, which was number one, which is something you either learn
Mm,
when you're in childhood, you learned that in childhood, or you learn through something that happened and you don't want to be a burden. Maybe you felt like someone who was constantly asking for help felt like a burden.
mm,
That that option as well, right?
right.
Somebody who constantly comes to you, maybe just to get your help. They don't
Yes.
call you, they don't ask you how you're doing, but they constantly calling you, asking for help.
Right.
And then you see that, and your reflection is, I don't want to be like that.
Right.
And now you're trying to be super strong because you don't want to be that type of person to others. Right. And so that there's that burden, right? Like it can mean so many things, but it's essentially two beliefs. The belief that you, whatever you are going through is a burden, because otherwise you wouldn't feel like it's a burden. If you don't think it first, it's a type of burden. So that's the
That's
first
so
belief.
interesting, though, because it could either be you learned it somehow, right? So, like you said, you could have seen it and been like, "Oh, I don't want to be like that person," or "I don't want to." You're receiving some an incessant amount of phone calls because someone really needs something from you, and you feel that it's too overwhelming, or too you just don't want to be that person. That's interesting. Yeah, because I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that has happened to me too.
Yeah,
So,
and we're constantly watching, right?
oh,
We
sure.
are
Yeah.
watching, right? Especially if you have like a big family, for example, even if you're not the one getting the impact of a lot of things, you are observing and watching other behaviors around you. So if
Right.
your siblings did something to your parents and they felt like that was a burden, if it happens to you next, you
Right.
won't come to them because you don't want to be a burden because you remember them complaining that that was a burden when it did happen.
That's huge. Yeah. Somewhere along the way, you learn that asking for help would produce a negative emotion, a negative feeling, and you didn't want because you care about those people and you don't want them to feel the same way because you heard them complaining about, that when that other person did it, why would you want to be in that position? So yeah,
But
that
then,
makes a lot of
like I
sense.
said, there's
Yeah,
two beliefs there. So the first belief is that your problem can create the same reaction.
right.
Maybe it isn't actually because you're different. Maybe your relationship with the person is different.
Sure.
But the first belief is that whatever you can bring to somebody, your pain is a burden. That's the first belief. And
Yeah.
then the second belief is that if I share it with someone or if I ask for help,
Mm,
it will be a burden. So it's two really beliefs packaged or sandwiched into one.
interesting.
Yeah. And then you said, I don't want to be a burden. And then you said, I want to be strong.
Mm,
And that's another thing. somewhere along the way, we have learned that being strong, meaning carrying it alone, withholding more pain that we really deserve or need or can accommodate, is a sign of being strong. We have must have learned that along the way because now
Yeah.
we know with so much research, with many helping books, that that's not the truth,
Right.
that that's not strength. There is actually a underlying weakness to that option.
But it's perceived by not handling everything, by not doing it all, by not absorbing all the things that it is a weakness,
Yeah.
that you failed in some way. You put so much pressure on yourself to, I see other people doing it all. How come I can't do it? And if I can't do it, then I have failed. I am not as good as someone else, or, and that's that whole comparison thing. But it could be, it could also be an expectation that you set for yourself. There's many times in my life, that there was an expectation of what a good mom would be, especially like you're bringing the baby home for the first couple of days. And I know you moms out there can understand you doing it all, being up all night, doing all the, to be able to ask for help would have been a sign that I am failing in some way to be a good mom on my first couple of days of being a mom. You put
Mhm.
so much pressure on yourself to do that.
To do all the things for
Yeah.
sure. And if you don't know how to ask for help,
Yeah.
it's even worse,
So bad.
right?
Right?
And because that's another part. Maybe the person wants help, but they don't know where they can start, where they can actually ask for help. Yes, I do
Yeah.
need help. I feel overwhelmed, but where do I start? Where do I really need the help? Where can
Yeah.
I delegate? Where can I ask?
Right.
Like where can I negotiate? And this is all taught to us, right? Like
Right.
because we learned that it's possible to do it all, that it's brave to do it all. And when you do it all, you are somehow looked at as like something to be proud of,
Yes.
you know, and so which is okay. Like, yes, we're all proud of people that are able to do it, but in reality, they could also be getting for help that we don't know.
Yeah.
They're so successful because they are good at delegating their tasks and
Right.
choosing what they want to do and what they don't. But we have all of these perceptions of how it works. We see
Right.
only the result and we think it's being done all by one
Right.
person.
Right.
When you see, oh, I want to do that too, but there's a lot of miscommunication, lack of communication about help in getting assistance.
Yes.
So I ask you, Marina, like when is the when is the best time or the ideal time of asking for help?
Most people will only ask for help when they are at their wits' end. They're burnt out. There's no other option. It is absolutely done. There's some sort of breakdown, and that's when they ask for help out of desperation, not necessarily out of need. Like it's beyond the need. We're now at critical mass. When we should ask for help is when we first start feeling overwhelmed and tired and exhausted and really at a point where you need a nap. Like to be able to ask for help in a way, we need to feel that it is okay, that the support's okay. Okay. And there isn't going to be any lashback afterwards. So having a good support network is important, right? A lot of people don't have that, or at least they don't trust it enough.
Yeah. You,
So,
yeah, absolutely. You touched on something um, that wasn't part of the question, but it was even more brilliant, which is having safety.
yeah.
Right? People need to feel safe communicating when they feel it, right? And when I asked you that, I almost thought of like the pain level. Like if you go to a doctor's office,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
going to
What?
give you a
Right.
rating. Like, are you, what's your pain level right now from 1 to 10? One being like, I'm feeling okay. 10 is like
Yeah.
unbearable.
Yeah.
People tend to go to the doctor when it's like unbearable. Oh, it's a
Right.
10, you
Right.
know. And
Right.
it's very similar when it comes to asking for help. They don't ask for help when it's a 5. They ask for help when it's a like a 9 or a 10.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
Right? But what you're saying is that we should be asking for help when we feel like it's
Yeah.
increasing, whether
Right.
that's rapidly or if that's incrementally. When you're going from like 4 to 5, 5 to 6, when you feel the stress, when you feel like it's becoming too overwhelming, because we do,
Yeah.
we have that compass. We know when things are starting to get just a little bit more than what's ideal for you. Everybody
Yeah.
knows their ideal point, right? Or at least a point of a threshold at which they can push themselves and it's still healthy versus they're pushing themselves and now they're hurting,
Right.
right? So you can kind of gauge that and see, okay, like if it's really a 5 and 6, and those are still a form of stress, right?
Definitely.
If you are starting to see a form of stress, and that can come in many forms, right? You're starting to resent people, you're starting to get really upset, you're waking up unhappy, there will be signs that
Definitely.
that it's developing into that
Right.
pain level 9 or
Right.
10.
Right.
Like what other things can you think of?
It could be overall exhaustion. It could be just being tired for no reason. It could be waking up and not having a restful sleep and you don't know why. It could be headaches. It could, I mean, any sort of um, malady that is, unexplained, if you will. Obviously you go out and you go party all night long, you're gonna have a headache the next day. That's what I'm talking about, like a constant, like
Yeah.
just an overall general malaise all
Yeah.
the time, all day.
Yeah.
Then you really need to start looking at it. For the most part, we know that there's a level of exhaustion or tiredness or stress. And we generally know where it's coming from too. The biggest issue is being able to tell someone what's happening,
Communicate.
communicate what you're going through, and have that other person or persons to be able to say, I got you. I understand what you're going through right now. All right, here, this is what I'm going to do. I'll cook dinner tonight. You go relax, go take a bath or whatever. Like just to be able to help each other out in these times before it gets to the point where you're seeking um
Support.
you're
Yeah, before you're
yeah,
seeking
before you're seeking it. Yeah,
resolution, even.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah, you talked about two things, right? So you talked about being able to communicate. So
Yes.
that's step one. So let's kind of focus on that. And then we'll talk
Hold up.
about we can get the support, right? Because you did say also having someone to help you support your pain level, right? So we already kind of talked about this because sometimes people feel like they're a burden.
Mm,
So if they are doing things and they're feeling the stress, maybe they're waking up in the middle of the night, maybe something is going on that now they're like, should I tell somebody or should I not? Is where can I create safety to be able to communicate that? Because you're right. Sometimes people don't feel safe communicating what they're feeling. And so they will avoid talking about their pain. They will
yeah.
avoid sharing that they're not sleeping. They're going to avoid sharing that they are having a headache, or that they have like body pains,
Yeah.
or that they're stressed out at work. But then let's say that they do have the ability to communicate, or they're able to call somebody, right, in their lives, whether it's a friend, excuse me, whether that's a friend or their doctor,
Right.
whatever, whoever that is, right? Being able to communicate what it is that they're going through. Because sometimes, like you said, they don't want to burden anybody. And so they don't want to talk about it with anybody.
Yeah.
So, how do they know that they are in this situation where they're not communicating? And how do they start? Like, what's the first step to
The-
being not being able to communicate to now
Right.
being able to communicate?
Having an assessment of who you have is your support network. So, is it a parent? Is it a friend? Is it a spouse? Is it like you said, a professional, a doctor, or someone? Um, Picking and choosing who you feel safest with is probably the first step. The problem that I have had in my own life is having a spouse that when you try to communicate how you're feeling, I was always met with, "Oh yeah, you feel this way? Well, I feel this way."
Mm,
Okay. And mine is worse than yours. And instead of saying, yeah, we both have it. We both have it rough. Okay, so maybe we can help each other out here. That was never part of the conversation. So communication in a way that is, I'm going to tell you how I feel, and then I want you to tell me how you feel. We're going to have an open line of communication. That doesn't always work, but I mean, at least it's something. Especially if you only have a spouse or only have a friend or only have like one or two people, testing the waters a little bit just to dip your toe in to see if the water is too hot, that kind of thing.
yeah. And I'm sorry that that was the case, right? And I know not just for you, but for a lot of people,
Yes,
maybe
for a
I
lot of
can
people.
relate,
And
where
still for
I
a
don't
lot of
feel
people.
like it's safe to communicate
Yeah.
because in the family, maybe it's not a spouse, maybe it's a
Yeah.
sibling, maybe it's whoever is in the
Right.
house, when you decide to share something, that you're met with someone almost try to belittle what you're feeling,
Exactly.
bypassing what you're feeling, or making it sound so small by either comparing or completely brushing it off.
Right.
You just didn't sleep, like you went to the party, that's why you're tired, like get
Right.
over
Right.
yourself. And so like you said, people are met with a response that actually causes even more tension, more pain. It kind of adds to the original pain you
Right.
had. And so when you don't have, let's say that you don't have this person, right? Or you do, and you're met with exactly what you said, where the person is not interested, just as tired as you, have their own problems, and are not willing to share a shoulder, to be that support for you. And let's say, you really feel like you don't have anyone.
Anyone.
What do you do next?
There are many professionals, also as coaches, there's therapists who'd be able to walk you through what you're feeling, to be able to um, help and guide you, to differentiating what is just exhaustion versus actually what's a problem.
Yeah.
Um, and it could be medically, it could be, mentally, it could be, physically. Determining what the issue is very important and how to fix it. So if it is in the example of, let's say, a new mom, that is a very stressful situation. And for the most part in a situation like that, some people have a lot of people around them. almost too many people around them that are like, just tell me what you want, tell me what you need, tell me, I'll help you. Just, if you need any help, just
Right.
let me know.
Yeah.
And you're like, I have no idea what I need right now.
Mm.
I have not a clue. And that happens in a lot of the larger situations, the larger emotional moments, birth, death, when you have these major moments in life, and you really don't know what you need. Um, so having a support network that can assist you in what you need. It could be as simple as a friend bringing over a chafing dish of food, or I'm coming over for an hour or two. I'm going to hold the baby and I'm going to lock you in that bathroom and I want you to be, I don't want you to come out for an hour. You could be like, this is what I think you need. And this is what I'm available for.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
What
seems
I'm
a little
hearing,
bit,
yeah.
sorry, you were saying?
No, you were. Keep going.
I was. No, but this is the flavor is for for the people who don't like to take help, generally love to give help, I find.
Mm.
And having that perspective gives you a little bit more of like, oh, okay, if someone were to ask me, and if it was me asking me, what would it be? Would I be like, this is a burden? Am I going to tell myself that, I don't want to burden that, myself?
Mm.
Or, is it that I genuinely want to help? And I had to ask myself, I genuinely want to be helped and I genuinely want to help. So what a beautiful place to be, and it could be something small, it could be something big, but just to say, I'm tired, or I need a shower, or I just need a half an hour to myself. You don't even have to like give like, this is what I need you to do. I need you to do this, 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 and this. It is just, this is this is what I need in this particular moment. I
Mm.
need 10 minutes. I need half an hour. I need, like I said, just express it and find the people that are going to be that support for you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because you said so many things there, right? So you
Yeah.
actually sometimes don't need anybody to get out of that and gain awareness,
Right.
right? So if you are feeling stressed out, if you are feeling that your pain level, that your discomfort level is getting to a 5 or a 6,
Right.
what you can do is really stop and assess, like you said earlier, right? That could be in the form of really like, what am I feeling right now?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Right.
You can always journal, write it out in a piece of paper. It's like getting it out of you and putting it somewhere else. It also helps you view what's really going on. So when you write down what is really stressing me out right now, you will have something on paper,
Mm.
right? Maybe, what's really stressing me out is the lack of support. What's really stressing me out is not being able to sleep. What's really stressing me out is, you know, um, something that is happening immediately, is the amount of people in my house and I'm
Yeah.
trying to sleep, like you're
Right.
saying,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So you do know what's stressing you out, and then once you write down and you really understand and assess what is bothering you, what's causing the pain, what's causing more stress, once you know what that is, then you ask the question, what can I do about this?
Right.
What can I do about getting more sleep? Is there a way that I can get more sleep?
Right.
With help, without help, sleeping with the child, if that's the case, right? But even in other situations, how can I get the help that I need? What exact type of help do I need right now? And the good part about understanding where you are and you're not letting the pain to get to a 9 or a 10 is that you still have a little bit of energy left to distribute and understand what kind of help you actually need.
Right.
When you're at a 10, now you want to go to the doctor. Now, like now again, because you're at such a stressful time, because you waited so long to get the help,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden you might be spending more money, you know, adding stress to what's already stressful because now you have to deal with bigger consequences
Right.
because you waited, right? And so the reason why I like to assess when it's at about 5 or 6 is that you're able to look back and say, can I identify what's really happening here? And based on what I just learned, that this is what's bothering most, can I communicate either to a person or not about what I just learned? This is what I just learned, that I'm stressed because of this, that this is what's going on at work, so that I have the opportunity to one say, how can I take anything off my plate right now? Not anybody, just even yourself. How
Right.
can I take this off my plate? Maybe I'm tired because I haven't slept. Maybe I can take a nap. Maybe I'm so exhausted and I haven't taken a shower. That's what I need right now. And if I can depend on someone, if it's safe for me to rely on someone, can I share that with them
Right.
so that I'm able to delegate these chores, these activities, or share even my pain?
Yeah.
I have a friend who will listen to this. And you want to do that when you do have the energy to do so
Yeah.
before it's too late. How does that land?
10. When you're at a 10, you're not thinking clearly. I don't know anybody who has been at a 10 and can actually make really great decisions for themselves. So I think by taking the pause and like you said, making an assessment. Where's it coming from? Why am I feeling? What do I need? Do I need a few minutes? Do I need a helping hand? Do I need to take some things off my plate? You kind of instead of it being this big mountain of a problem or an issue, and now, your whole body, your mind, and just your whole being is being affected by it, by taking a step back, and thank you for bringing that up, journaling, getting it out, seeing it for yourself, because when it's in here, it processes very different, but when it's in front of you, you can actually see the word on the page and you go, oh wow, yeah, no, that's something. And then you could kind of slowly come out of it instead of being, and again, I use this often, it's that you're in the forest, right? But when you're at a 10, your face is up against the tree so much, all you see is the bark. You don't see that you're even in a forest. So I
I love
think
that.
by being able to take yourself a couple steps back and you realize where you're at, making that assessment, assessing who you can trust with the information, who's going to help you. I think there are more people willing to help you than you think. I
Mm,
think that that is definitely something that I've learned in my experiences is that you don't realize how many people have said it to you. If you need something, just let me know. Or, hey, listen, just give me a call. Someone is always like extending an olive branch or reaching their hand out, and you're just like, no, thanks. No, I got it. I'm going to do fine. I'm going to be great. I'm going to be fine. And when you do take an assessment and a pause, that's something that you'll remember. Oh, I remember that this person, or, you know, I'm constantly being asked if I'm okay by this person, like, so,
yeah. That
um,
is such a good thing because you're right. Like you will remember, you may or may not remember the people, but you definitely realize that you have people around you that could, at the very least, be helping you. But one of the things that we also talked about is once you identify everything that is happening, you can also ask, is this really important? Is this going
mm,
to matter?
yes,
5 years from now, is this going to matter?
that's true.
Because it gives you so much perspective. Like I know people that are extremely stressed out, especially after having a baby, because everything is everywhere.
Right.
You have bottles, you have toys, you have this, you have that, and the person is just stressed because of its environment.
Right.
And then when you say, what's really stressing me is all of this in front of me. And then the second question is this really important? Because sometimes we're so worried about things that are not really important,
Yeah.
that maybe they are temporary, that maybe, they're not really impacting your health in any way. They're just there and it's kind of bugging you. Maybe it's something that you can do about it. Maybe it's something that somebody can do about it for you. But it's really essential that you ask these questions. Is this important?
Right.
Is this going to matter a few days from now? Is this going to matter a few months from now? Is this going to matter a few years from now?
Yeah.
And that really adds perspective into helping you
Definitely.
assess if it's something that you should be really looking into, if it's something that should be really causing that much stress, or if it's something that in your perception is so stressful. I love your analogy because all you can see is bark, like when you take a few steps back, you're like, oh, okay, I can
Oh,
see
it's
the.
a tree.
I love
Like, oh,
that. I
okay.
love that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to navigate when you just don't know what's wrong. And I think that's a lot of in my own personal experience. It's almost like I know I'm stressed out over something and I don't exactly know what it is. Or maybe I have too much on my plate, but I don't know what I can get out of, or like there's this overwhelming sense of like I can't move forward. I know that I can't stay here and I can't move forward, and that's what drew me to the whole crossroads moment because that's the feeling. It is I just don't know where to go, who to turn to. Because if I do ask for help and I get denied, or if I try to make changes and I fail, or like there's this constant like fear of making any moves because you don't want to make the wrong one.
Mm,
And by asking for help, getting over yourself and asking for help is harder than than actually just keep living the same moment, that same stressful thing. You know what the stress feels like, but asking for help and maybe getting rejected, or asking for help and maybe not getting what you expected from that help,
mhm.
is too much of a pain point for to move forward.
Yeah. So what should people do? Like maybe they will get a no.
Maybe they will. But having steps where you start with yourself, like you said, you start assessing, or at least trying to assess in some way, really where you find those trigger points. So it if you're running out of 10 all day, um, that's way different, and you probably would want to consult someone. But if you're having moments throughout your day where you're just like getting anxious or nervous or tired or exhaustion or whatever you're feeling that is just done with, those are the moments to go, what triggered me? What had just happened that made me feel like this? What memory popped up, or what idea popped into my head that is making me feel this?
Mm.
There's pressures throughout life, whether it be work related or home related or whatever. But when you're going through it, you know the moment something is triggering you. It could have been something that was said. It could have been something that was done in front of you, what that is, and making an assessment as to why you're feeling that way is probably a really good first step to trying to figure out where your pain point is. What is the issue there? And generally comes from these messages.
Yeah. I love that because it's true, right? So there now we know that we can make assessment about our pain,
Yeah.
our pain tolerance,
Yeah.
right? Can I keep going? Or should I really ask for help?
Yeah.
I think that also gauges that, but also identifying what is it that is bothering me.
Yeah.
Because now we know that by identifying your stresses or your stress level, you're able to make a decision whether you can ask for help or you can't. Do you need help at all? Or can you do this by yourself? Is this something that is important or is it really not important?
Yeah.
And I think that's how I gauge coaching in general, or either other professional help, right? Therapy, consulting, anything like that. It's really the difference between, is this something that, how, if I do it alone, how successful or how far can I go alone versus if I have a professional assistance with this, how successful can I be and how much faster can I
Right.
do this? So those are really the difference, right? Because sometimes when you're stressed about something, once you're able to identify what it is, sometimes you can, most times, you can figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
All you needed to do was that analysis, was that assessment, that understanding. Where am I sitting right now? Like, what's really bothering me? Once you know what's really bothering me and you assess the level, like, this is something that I can do alone. This is something that I can try to manage alone. And this is something that I should definitely ask for help. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try, whether I'm successful or not, I can ask for help. But then there are situations where you see it over and over again, and you still weren't able to be successful with the results, or
Mm.
you never really got the results that you imagined for yourself.
Right.
You start seeing patterns that you don't like.
Mm.
When you start feeling stuck, you have done it on your own. You have identified what it is, and you maybe asked for help, but you weren't successful, or the result was not what you really wanted.
Right.
And you're still dissatisfied with the result. I think those are the situations where you now go from, can I help myself with this? Can I ask friends and family to help me with this? Or I'm really running out of resources. Now I need additional resources with this. I don't know how to solve it. I've went to friends and family. They don't know how to solve it. And I'm still experiencing discomfort.
Right.
What do I do? When you have no resources internally, and meaning like in your community, within yourself, that's when there is a different level of expertise that can provide tools to get you a desire, or at least something you can try,
Yeah.
may take you to your desirable result.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference, right? Like, I normally don't, sometimes you don't need a coach. Sometimes you don't need therapy if it's something that you can solve on your own. But if you feel like you solved it and a year later you find yourself in the same situation, or if you're trying to solve something, but you can't measure yourself to ask even for help from family and friends, because maybe that's the case. Like you said earlier, some people, they just don't know what they need help with. They feel so overwhelmed. Maybe they are at a 10. They're right in front of the bark, and then all they see is bark. And it's not that they don't want help, they don't know how to help
Right.
themselves. They're at that level where there is no energy left to ask for help from family and friends.
Right.
And so when you get to a place where you feel like you have exhausted your known resources, that's when you ask for unknown resources.
Yeah.
If I were to reach out to a coach, will they be able to give me a tool, a learning experience that I have not yet collected in my internal community, that I don't have it in my toolbox? If
Right.
the answer is yes, this person will be able to provide me a perspective I've never had because I grew up in a different family. An experiment with tools and resources that I've never used because they're not available to me nor given to me. That's when you want to look outside,
Yeah.
because you know Even at school, when you get a different resource, you get a different answer. You understand that people that have gained experience or expertise or skills outside of what we know now have the tools that we don't have.
Right.
And that's not different. It's not different for a profession, it's not different for your personal case. That's when you really look for outsource, is when you have explored or you think that you have explored all of your known resources. Now I need to do something that I don't know because everything that I know, I have done it, and I'm still not at the place where I need to be. That's when you kind of go outside of that to ask for professional advisory.
There's another side to this that I like to talk about, which is when people do come to you, especially during difficult times, and say, I'd like to help you. How come we don't take the help as readily as we should? Because I know at sometimes, especially in those difficult moments, that you really do need help, but there's a difficulty in accepting that help. Where do you think that comes from?
Many different places. I think we've talked about this in previous conversations, but first you have to trust that the person has the capability of doing it.
Right.
If you say, "Can you pick up my child?" and you don't know where, or maybe you don't have a car, there's no way I can rely on you. And so even if you come to me and say, "Caroline, if you need anything, call me," the first thing that I'm going to think is she even capable of providing what I need?
Right.
So capability is huge. Maybe I need help picking up my daughter, but you're in Florida, you can't pick up my daughter.
Right. Right.
That's not the help that you're going to be able to provide,
No.
right? And so capability is huge. Is this person capable to provide what I need? Maybe they do know what they need, but this person is not the right person to provide that. The second thing is, can I trust you with it?
Mm,
Maybe they're able to do it, but there is a trust issue when it comes to, are they actually going to be able to do it? Maybe they are able, right? Maybe I'm going to call my husband and say, "Can you pick her up?" But what if he forgets? What if he has forgotten? What if, something comes up and, and I know it's going to be a priority. It's not, by the way. My husband will pick up my child if I need to. But that's an example, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's like, yes, you are capable of doing it, but can I rely on you to do it? So if you say, "Hey, if you need any help, call me," maybe I know you can do it, but I can't trust you to do it for whatever history you have. So
Okay.
those are also reasons why people still won't take the help. And then their own perception of, is it going to be done properly?
Yeah.
Right? So maybe somebody's going to say, "Hey, I can cook for you." They're capable of cooking. You trust that they will cook, they'll actually make it,
Yeah.
but you don't like their cook. You don't like their food, right?
Yes, I
Because your
understand.
idea of good is not their idea of good. "Oh, I can help you clean your house." You're like, "No," because you have a different perception and perspective on cleanliness, maybe. And I
Mm,
know a lot of people won't take help because it's not what I want. It's what you're willing to give, but that's not good enough. And so there's also this third part, which is the expectation of the person receiving.
mm,
If the expectation is really high, this person is a perfectionist, they want things done a certain way, they are afraid of trusting people. What are they going to say? It's not good enough. And maybe it is. But their perception of perfection is different than what the person is willing to give. And so they'll say, "No, I don't need any help." So there's capability, there's trust, and then there's competency. People have
yeah.
different level of competency. If you're not competent to do the what I need, the as well as I need it, then I don't need your help. But that can be very stressful, right?
Look, here, let's add another C to this, right? Control, right? Control is a major issue, and especially when it comes to things like that, whether it be food or cleanliness and stuff like that, you are now giving up your control of your world and your situation to someone who may or may not be able to do it. You don't even know, but you don't even want to give them the benefit of the doubt because you don't want to give up that control because you could do it better. And I'll just take it. I'll just handle it. I'll keep handling it. And this is what brought you to the burnout in the first place, is that you're trying to handle everything and you just can't. And by allowing yourself the pause, even if it's just for one day, to let someone else clean, to let someone else cook, to let someone else do something for you, that will give you just, even if it's a few minutes of breathing room, you could always pick up the cleaning tomorrow. You know, like you allowing yourself to give up the control, like even just saying that, just let it go. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let it go. Like I'll just let someone else do the cleaning today, or I'll let someone else take the baby, or take the responsibility of driving, the kids around. Whatever it is, start off small and allow yourself, even it may be uncomfortable for you, allow yourself to let go a little bit of the control just so you can gain better awareness. Because the tighter that you have the grip on there, the tighter that you have, um, the least you're going to be able to get rid of it, that stress.
Oh, for sure. You're only adding stress. But then
Yeah.
that's where I come back to my question. Is it important?
Yeah.
Is it important now? Maybe. It's very important that I have my house clean. It's been dirty for a month or whatever, right? But is it going to be important in a month or in a year? And so assessing will actually also give you awareness about how much you're trying to control.
Yeah.
And maybe you can't. Maybe you think it's important all the time, like maybe it's this person who cannot let go of the grip, right?
Okay.
And so that is also another way I assess if you need unknown resources. Because what you know is control, and control is adding to the stress. I
Yeah.
love what you said. That's actually like more, what did you say? Burnout. That is actually
That
more
is
is
burnout.
you're holding on and you have so much control. But that's what you know. And so if you have explored what you know, again, now it's time to go with what you don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know how to let go because I've always had to control everything.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? There are ways of letting go of this control. You just need assistance. You need a new tool. You need a new perspective, a new belief, a new identity towards that so that you can expand and learn from what that is. But I love that because it's true. Like those
Yeah,
things are very easy to gauge if you need help and when you need help, which is more important.
definitely. Yeah, the control piece of it, I know is difficult for me to learn how to, even if it's just to take one little finger off. It just I got a firm grip. I'm just gonna take one finger off. And it slowly I was able to gain trust in situations and people around me that we're always asking, can I do something for you? Is there anything I could do? How about, you need help with this? Or, nope, I got it. I can handle it. I can do it all. I can keep doing it. And it took a little bit of time, but I was able to do that. But these are tools that you have to, one, learn about, and then two, practice. So it's not an overnight fix.
I love what you just said because you won't learn if you do it once. There's that too. Why? Because your body is so used to doing it one way.
Yeah.
In order for you to do it differently, you need to practice in order for your body to get used to a new way, right? Adapting, learning, it takes practice. It takes more than once,
Yeah.
right? And again, like, and I can say it for myself, people that know me, I do have a lot of control over a lot of areas in my life, and I have a hard time letting go of the control. Does it stress me? Sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. But when it does stress me, what I do also is I do the assessment,
Mm.
and if I cannot resolve the amount of control in one area, I try to give it up in other areas. And I have found that very helpful. Maybe,
Yeah.
yes, maybe I can't rely on anybody for a certain thing, right? Because I feel like I need to have complete control over this. While you're working on that, if you want to work on that, there are ways to actually look at your entire life in other areas. Okay, if this is where you want to prioritize this type of control, are there other areas that you are willing to practice small steps,
Yeah.
to learn that this survival mode is not the best choice, right? Maybe you can learn it in different areas. If you can't let go of this, what can you let go of that will feel easier for you? And you can still practice letting go. You can still practicing doing something different. Because I understand and I can empathize with people that have a lot of control. These are people that have history and a path, right? In a past of believing that if they don't control something, something bad is going to happen. So it's mostly out of fear, out of
Yeah.
protection.
And
You're
safety, right? There's not the safety is not there. And by handling everything yourself and by controlling certain things yourself, it gives you that sense of safety. Like I can handle this and this is going to be my thing. When it becomes so overwhelming and it becomes too much and everything is on your plate and your plate alone, there are things and wonderful tools where you can separate each of those things and say, this is what's important for me to work on, or here's an area in my life I probably can let go of control with, and that will give me a little bit more bandwidth to handle the big thing.
exactly.
So that's a beautiful point. Thank you.
Yeah. I love this conversation because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so relatable, right? Like,
So
so
much.
many people need help right now, are hurting right now,
Definitely.
maybe are hurting in silence. There's so many people that probably need to ask for help today,
Yeah.
right now, this month, and maybe they think they can't ask for help because they don't know where would help come from. They're going to see us talking and go, yeah, but maybe I don't have a husband.
Right.
Maybe I don't have my parents around and I don't have friends and I just moved to a new country or a new city and I don't have, the resources that you guys have. You know, go back to yourself, right? Assess what
Yeah.
exactly you need. And today with technology,
Oh, right.
there's just so much access to so many resources out there. Like how can you make friends in your community? How can you learn something new?
Oh, there's so much out there right now.
And so like
There is. It's true.
there are
And I'm
so
not, I'm certainly not trying to downgrade someone who doesn't have someone, but there are so many resources as long as you tap into it. There's many groups and places and things you could do in order to get a good support network. And especially if you're dealing with something specific, um, there's a group, there's a community for everything. So maybe start there, but either way, sometimes it's not big things that you want to ask for. Sometimes it's little things you want to ask for. And, um, sometimes you just want a hug, right?
Hmm.
Just being able to want, like that was something that was difficult for me initially, but I was like, I would ask for it. Can I have a hug? And for the most part, they were like, oh, absolutely, come here. Like, I'm gonna give you this hug, and these little things, these little moments, maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's, hey, listen, do you got a couple of minutes a little later on today? Just, I just want a 5-minute chat with you. It doesn't have to be big things. Sometimes it's small. And practicing how to ask is something that's super important.
Oh, I love that. Let's end with that because that's beautiful. Practice asking for help. I love
Yes.
it.